It's another beautiful day and I'm so excited to know that you are there. You're welcome to another edition of Editors Forum. I am Rita Omodia. And on this program, we talk about headlines, front burners of what is going on in the country in the past week. And of course, this week has been very tremendous. Political matters, presidents going on a medical trip, and of course, the Senate and the IGP, where the IGP has refused to come to the summons of the Senate. And of course, the Senate on Wednesday said that the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, is not capable to hold public office and a threat to democracy. All of these things we'll be talking about on the program today on Editors Forum. Now, before we start, we have a little bit of talk about the Senate and the IGP. But the IGP now has refused to answer the summons of the Senate for 3 times. On April 25th, the IGP refused. On May 2nd, the IGP refused. And on May 9th, the IGP refused, which has, of course, reacted. The Senate has reacted and said that with this, he is unfit to hold a public office. Now, let's take a look at what happened at the Senate on Wednesday. And when we come back, we'll discuss issues affecting the country. Do stay tuned.
The Nigerian Senate has declared the Inspector General of Police enemy of the country's democracy and as such unfit to hold public office both in the country and abroad. This resolution of the Senate Wednesday follows the failure of the IGP Ibrahim Idris to honor the summons of the Red Chamber for the 3rd time in a row, to have him brief on the ill treatment of Dino Melaye and the killings in the country. He was expected to speak on the spate of killings across the country and the inhuman treatment of Senator Dino Melaye, but he was absent yet again.
Distinguished colleagues, I've just been informed by the clerk that the Inspector General of Police is not here, or anybody in his team is here. So I think we need to decide on the next line of action.
And Ibrahim Idris' failure to show drew the condemnation of the obviously angered lawmakers.
Some people might not come out to tell us their weaknesses. Either they don't have the capacity to withstand this Senate or whatever. Now, this clearly explains one's lack of capacity to even serve in a position like that. I think this Senate needs to take a very, very serious action on the way forward. We cannot stand this embarrassment any longer.
With the conduct of the Chief Law Officer of the Federation of Nigeria is nothing but an abuse of power. He has no respect for this institution. That is now a fact. There's absolutely no way we can dress it. There's absolutely no way we can say, let us give him some more time. There's absolutely no way we can say that what he is doing is anything but an abuse of this institution, of the Federation of Nigeria, of himself.
Today, Mr. President, what the IG is doing is not against the Senate. I think he's doing it against the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because he is the leader today of this country. If an appointee of the President, somebody within 1 second, or somebody, even the wife of the President, can even come out and announce that the President said IG should be sacked, who refuse to honor invitation of an institution which is the main institution that sees the democratic running of any democracy, I think is unfortunate. Mr. President, it shows so many things. I think it is left now for this government to decide if they have an appointee that will re-establish the image of the country.
The Red Chamber went into a closed-door session for over 30 minutes, after which the Senate President read out the decision taken.
And also know that his earlier refusal to appear before investigative committee was overruled by a competent court of jurisdiction just in April of this year. The Senate therefore viewed this persistent refusal as a great danger to our democracy. Therefore, the Senate resolved to declare the IGP as an enemy of democracy and not fit to hold any public office within and outside Nigeria. The leadership of the Senate was also mandated to look into the matter for further necessary action.
The decision of the Senate and the police both seemed to have fallen short of what was expected, and this therefore leaves journalists wondering if this is another Ahmed Ali episode playing out again.
The issue of the customs boss is something different, more or less like administrative. Okay? The issue of Magu is procedural, and we have made our point. And he remains up to today, what? Acting. That's what they've said. So, let's get that clear. But as far as this issue is concerned, it's about the Senate inviting the IGP in furtherance of his responsibility as enshrined under the Constitution with respect to investigation, and to also know what is happening with respect to killings.
With the killings in the country still going on and Dino Milaya's fate hanging in the balance, it remains very clear the last has not been heard of the Senate and the IGP impasse.
Welcome back. You're still on to Editors Forum on Galaxy Television. And of course, the clip you saw there where the Senate was saying that the IGP is unfit to hold public office. Now, I will not be discussing this alone. We have distinguished guests in our midst. Yemi Saka, you're welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, a long time no see. Bjorn Shomi, you're welcome to the show.
I'm pleased to be here. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Daniel and Nico, you're welcome to the show.
My pleasure to be here.
All right, now straight to business. Now, in reaction to this, the Senate said the IGP is unfit to hold public office. Now, the IGP, Ibrahim Idris, on Wednesday also described the Nigerian senators as people trying to blackmail him into perverting the course of justice. Now, on the first summon, he said he was on an official assignment. On the second summon, he also said he traveled to Kaduna. Now, the third summon, due to this reason of him saying they're trying to blackmail him, he felt that there was no reason for him to answer the summons of the Senate. Now, to my distinguished gentlemen, do you agree, or do you feel that with what the Senate is saying, do you feel that the IGP is unfit to hold public office?
Well, the Senate as a body, as an institution, is right about the pronouncements on the IGP. We shouldn't mince words. We shouldn't paint black as white. It's a huge disrespect, not to the senators, but to an institution and a strong arm of government in Nigeria. The IGP doesn't have any reason not to honor. If the Senate or the House of Representatives, if the National Assembly as it is, could summon the president, then who is the ordinary IGP not to honor it? It went to court. There's been a pronouncement that should honor it. The Senate is not acting out of place. They are not usurping any powers. It's a 1999 Constitution. No matter how flawed people want to say that Constitution, it's still a working document, and we must respect it. And it's just, when I say this, it might look as if everything goes back to Mr. President. But I think Mr. President's given his appointees a bit of, backing to go about this out of his subordination. The CG of Customs did it. He went away with it. They kept coming up with different pronouncements on Magu, and now the IGP is disobeying because it's nonsensical. That's the truth.
All right, thank you very much. Biodun, how do you feel about the development?
Yeah, it's quite very unfortunate that we are gradually sliding into authoritarianism. And I'm not saying this very lightly. When you look at all the body language of the IGP, you'll know he certainly has an official backing somehow. It's quite inconceivable. No matter the motive of the Senate, even if it is blackmail, once you are summoned, you are summoned. You have the option of going to court, like in the case of Omagege, who the court nullified the Senate's suspension. You cannot take the law into your own hands. The IGP cannot and must not, disrespect the Constitution of Nigeria or the Senate. That said, but the Senate on their own part also appeared to gradually be weakening their own position by lumping up the issue of Dino Melaye, with the killings going on in the country. People ask the question, so are you just waking up that there's police brutality in Nigeria? Does it take a senator to be arrested, allegedly brutalized, before you can take up the issue, in the Senate? So to some extent, it is self-seeking, but that is not a defense or an excuse for the IGP, to disobey the Senate.
All right, thank you. Now, let's not forget that the IGP was summoned, first of all, because of the perpetual killings in the country, and of course, the reaction with Dino Melaye is the mishandling of the Kogi West Senator, Dino Melaye. Now, over to you, Daniel Aneko. What do you feel about this development?
Yeah, the IG of the IG, Inspector General of Police, by his act, is sending a signal, of course, that is weakening the institution of our dear nation. Nigeria employ him there, and the representative of Nigeria invited him. So his disobedience to the order of the Senate is a disobedience to the entire nation, which, of course, if it is not nipped in the bud, it portends a serious danger to the nation.
All right. Now, he said something now about it posing a serious threat to the nation now. And of course, Bukola Saraki said something that the IGP is known to always refuse the summons of his elderly ones. And that's because the president also told him to go to Benue State, and within 24 hours, he had already left the state. Now, how would you judge his position now? Would you say that his powers are being checked adequately, Yemi?
No, it's not, because I think from the little about the Constitution, the power to hire and probably fire the IGP lies and rest of the president. And in this phase of obvious disregard, based disregard to lay down laws, procedures, and what have you, even directives and presidential orders, I don't think the guy should be on a seat a day beyond necessary. But if I say this, I don't know, people, it might seem as though I'm being antagonistic of Mr. President. If somebody is a misfit, if somebody is misbehaving, and you're not reprimanding him, that means you're comfortable with what he's doing. That means it's like a reflection of your attitude. The gross incompetence demonstrated by the IGP is probably a reflection of the attitude of Mr. President towards the National Assembly. Because it doesn't take Mr. President to call his boy to order, tell him to go honor the invite. It just boils down to this rift between the executive and the National Assembly. And it's just APC. And if this democracy should fail, nobody will blame it on 16 years worth of PDP. They will blame it on 4 years misadventure of APC. Either they wake up or they pack their bags and go.
All right, now, Biodun, how do you feel about this checking of the powers of the executives?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. What people need to look at is this. We have 3 arms of 3 chairs of government, and you also have 3 arms. You have the National Assembly, the president, the executive, and the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. The difference in all this is because the executive has the force of coercion. That's the only difference. Because the executive is in charge of the military, is in charge of the police force, and therefore they are able to coerce the rest to do their biddings. We've seen what happened with the NJC, with the judges, how irregular law enforcement agents, the SSS, were used to harass the judges to achieve a particular end, which in any case the judges managed to resist. We've also seen that there has been an ongoing issue around the presidency wanting to decide, the executive wanting to decide who heads the Senate. It does not matter whether the Senate is fielding the worst character, amongst them. That is not the business of the executive, but we've seen that is what is going on currently, saying if we can't have our way, then we will obstruct, blackmail you, obstruct all your operations. We've already had some police officers saying the IG, if the Senate should go through, that they will not process the police budget, and therefore they will withdraw the security men for the Senate. All this is pointing to one thing. This is not a proper federalism. In any proper federalism, the institutions like Senate would have its own security forces, responsible strictly for their own security, to avoid the situation where the executive could use the security services under their control, to intimidate them to do their bidding.
So let me set constitution. That came into force with the invasion when it came, because if the National Assembly has its own security apparatus architecture, that invasion wouldn't have been possible.
Go to America. We're practicing presidential system of government. In America, the Congress has its own policemen. So it is not possible for the president to say, because I am not going to obey or because I have issues with your leadership, we will withdraw police officers. I'm not saying they have done that, but we've heard of the threats of doing that if the Senate refused to approve the budget. We should not forget one thing. The National Assembly has oversight functions. If we undermine the National Assembly, as bad as its constitution is, what we'll be doing is we will be undermining, the country will be undermining the constitution, and we will embark on a reckless, total disregard, of all known procedures. Let me give you a good example. We've just gone to buy some Tucano jets. Okay. And there are figures in the air to say that, look, we paid for a jet, which others bought for 8 million, ranging between 8 and 12 million, and we're paying about $50 million, to America for that. So how do you explain it? It's simply because we have not gone through the due process, in all this. And secondly, it was not even appropriated for. That to me is even worse than what the IGP is doing. But when you take the totality of all these issues, take the Magus case, take the Ahmed Ali, the customs boss case, take the IGP case, take the Tucano Jets case, you begin to see a clear pattern that we are moving towards authoritarianism, and it is really worrying for all Democrats.
Thank you very much, Biodi. Now, the president has not made any comment on the Senate.
Yeah, sorry, are you expecting him to make a comment?
He hasn't, but he's supposed to make a, but he has not made any comment on this.
The president
but if we look at it this way now, we're still on you now, Daniel, on this, still on the issue of the checking the powers of the executive now, how would you feel about it? Do you feel that the president should have made a comment on what the Senate has said so far?
I would say the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, is enjoying a top support, which of course is making him to behave the way he is. So it will be a little bit challenging for the president if he's enjoying any benefit through him, of course, to speak on the matter, so that he will not be taking sides. So as it is,
you feel that his powers are not being checked, yes, because he is enjoying some benefits?
Yes, from the powers.
All right.
Later, I don't know, when some people talk, I say that I might be eating below the belt. I think we need to start questioning the body that awards SAN to some people. When somebody will just wake up somewhere and tell you that the National Assembly doesn't have the right to invite or summon the IGP. Yes. And this constitution is not written in Greek or Arabic, it's written in English. I have to tell you that for the copy I have at home. And section 89 of the constitution, subsection 1C, says the party says summon any person in Nigeria to give evidence at any place or produce any documents or other things in his possession or under his control, and examine him as a witness and require him to produce any documents or any other thing in his possession or under his control, subject to all expectations. So this is very straightforward. You might think it's all about denouement. And there's this attitude of this government since they came into power, especially when Bukola Saraki became the president of the Senate. It's always been about blackmail. This is the first time I'm hearing scrap the Senate. The first time I'm hearing some things about we don't need the National Assembly. It is dangerous to our democracy, and it's on that because we have, like you said, an authoritarian regime in place.
Now, what do you feel should be the next line of action?
The next line of action is very simple. These guys have the yam, they have the knife, they have the yam. Cause someone serving an impeachment notice, Mr. President will wake up, and all these games will stop because Mr. President has breached the Constitution, clear in the purchase of the Tucano thing for 2020. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the president is so sure that the Boko Haram will still keep killing Nigerians till 2020. And whether you like it or not, that's a breach of the Constitution and it amounts to misconduct.
And that's why it's a little bit difficult to...
It's not difficult because I think the National Assembly can use this thing to negotiate and make the president whip him in line, because the president has to be whipped in line. It has to be whipped in line because he feels he's doing Nigeria a favor. He thinks he's the only Messiah that can do it. He thinks he's always right. What is wrong?
Daniel, you were saying something.
Each of these, they have their own, of course, fault. They have their own shortcomings. So if, for example, the presidency is being picked up, like during the OBJ era, when it was picked up on the third time, of course, they brought out issues that were affecting him as well. So this thing is all encompassing. The way Nigeria is woven, everybody, there's no one that is clean on his own slate. Nobody is clean.
It's not about being clean.
Wait, before you go too far, I want to still hear from Biodina. What do you feel should be the next line of action in this case?
I think it's very, very clear. The IGP is refusing to attend. The Senate has declared him unfit to head that agency of government. The Senate still has a weapon, which is the budget, because if they don't believe in the leadership of that very vital organ, they can refuse to appropriate funds for his office. We've seen in the past how President Jonathan, including Buhari, they disregarded those provisions, you remember the case of the stock exchange involving the other woman, and then they decided to keep the woman and continue to fund it. Same thing is also happening with the issue of Magu. The constitution is very clear. Magu should have been cleared out. But we've seen a situation where an organ of the federal government is objecting to Magu's being cleared, and the other organ is under presidency also saying Magu should be cleared. But because of that, we are left in a limbo, with an acting, official EFCC chair against the provisions of the Constitution. So, of the act that established the EFCC. So you begin to ask yourself, why are we bending rules? Why are we fond of bending rules, saying that, look, if the agency responsible, the institution of the state responsible, saying you are not fit to hold the place, then the person should be dropped. Magu is not the only security officer in this country. There are so many competent police officers who can head that agencies. And same thing should happen in the case of the IGP. The Senate should insist that the IGP should be sacked on this matter, or else there are enough grounds to warrant re-examining the positions of the Mr. President. He needs to explain why measures of impeachment should not be taken against him. Impeachment does not mean removal from office. You can be impeached without being removed, like what happened to Clinton over Monica Lewinsky's case. You can be found guilty, because Nigerians at times tend to confuse impeachment with removal from office. So on this occasion, I think the president should be impeached, for the IGP's refusal, if he refuses. Not
just when the IGP refuses. I can come up with a list. Like I said, a lot of impeachable offenses has been committed under this administration. One, I think Section 217 of the Nigerian Constitution says recruitment to the Nigerian Army should reflect federal character. The Chief of Army Staff enlisted civilians JTF into the Army. That's a clear breach of the Constitution. The prerogative of mercy, I think that's in Section 31415 of the Constitution, lies with the President. But the theater commander in Borno has been granting amnesty to Boko Haram fighters. That's also a breach of the Constitution. So we can go on and on. This regime is not fantastic. We can remove it in 2 weeks if you want to. Don't get me wrong. You see, and what I want Nigerians to understand is this. The National Assembly as it is representative of Nigerians. Because this is about the only election, the only dispensation or assembly that you don't really have elections being overturned at will. That means these guys are truly representing the people. That means people truly voted for them. So if Nigerians, through this representative, could summon an IGP that we are paying his salaries and funding his excesses and lifestyle, and it's not responding to us, then we could demand for him to leave.
Now, some people are insinuating that the Senate is hinging on trivial matters. For example, they feel that they should drop the issue of the IGP not answering the summons and focus on the budget, the passage of the budget. What do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's quite, look, we are in a strange country. How do you explain that the budget has not been passed? Look, how? How do you explain to anybody? Yes, the law allows, allows us to spend 50% of the budget, in terms of paying remuneration, salaries and all that. But are we not shooting ourselves in the foot? What about development issues? We don't have the money, the executives don't have the money, to fund development. And we all know that this budget was submitted in time. The budget is being used, as like playing a game of chess, between the executive and legislature. The executives have their own problems, so also the legislature. If you ask yourself, how come all these impeachable offenses continue? It's simply because the Senate refused to act on the first one. So then they do the second one, then the third one, and then the fourth one. On their own part, they are also, relinquishing, they are neglecting their constitutional responsibilities, to check the executive. It's quite clear that what they're interested in is using all these issues to bargain. That should not be the issue. The issue should be a proper regulation of the executive. So because of that, we need to begin, to carefully ask the Senate. We now know there are lacuna, in the Constitution. What are they doing about it? Why are they addressing these issues to make sure that in future there is no escape route for the IG? If you fail to attend, automatically you should get suspended or removed from office or something. But they are not doing anything about that. They're all interested in the game. It's politics. They're all interested in what would happen next. Are we
2019 is coming.
2019 is coming. Are we staying in APC? Those are the issues. And unfortunately, they are drawing us backward. Till, as I'm speaking to you, even if they approve the budget now, it is impossible to implement it. The simple reason is this. If you have to follow due process, you have to go through tenders, and that takes 3 months. And then once it goes through tenders, it will come back to the executive. Before you know it, it's already October, November. So when are you going to award the contract?
Daniel, let's hear from you. How would you, before you go to final, Daniel, how would you rate the actions of the Senate?
So far, like he has rightly said, there have been lapses based on the profile my colleague here had highlighted, and maybe because of that is affecting the operations of the Senate to do their constitutional.
In other words, the Senate has loopholes.
Yes, to carry out their constitutional right.
Yeah, Mr. Aka, let's hear.
You see, when people talk about the budget, I laugh, I smile, not because I know too much, but because of some obvious things there. The 2017 Appropriation Act assent was onto it, I think about Shibaju, I think around July.
Yes.
So according to the Appropriation Act, that lifespan of that budget terminates in June. The Constitution Section 2112 says your financial year should start January and hence December. But according to the Appropriation Act, the lacuna in it, like he pointed out, is a 12 calendar month. It's a 12-month calendar duration, as in from the day it was signed, it should run 12 months. So that you like it or not, the 2017 budget is still running. The second thing is this: the National Assembly has come out to say or claim that the NDAs have not brought the audited books of 2017. So they need to come and defend their spendings before they can go on with the budget. Mr. President said he has directed them to come. National Assembly said they have not shown up. And Mr. President has not done anything. Nobody has been sacked. So when you keep blaming the National Assembly, at times I laugh. What is the president, what is he doing? He's probably unaware. It's funny.
Thank you very much. Now, you're still on to Editors Forum on Galaxy Television. And of course, we've been discussing the Senate and the Inspector General of Police summons and of the matters arising with it. Now, it's not over until it's over. We'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be discussing the political matters concerning the APC ward congresses all around the state. Do stay tuned.
The last may not have been heard about the crisis rocking the All Progressive Congress APC in Ekiti State, as a group within the party occupied and locked its secretariat in Ado, the Ekiti State capital. Kayode Egunjobi, who claimed to be the new chairman of the party in the state, said the Jide Awel-led executive is working against the emergence of a particular aspirant and instrumental to the disruption of the APC governorship primary. The group, which calls itself Concerned APC Stakeholders, believes the needed action at a time like this is to change the leadership at the state level. They accused the GDAWEL-led ESCO of bias and sponsoring a candidate in the botched Saturday gubernatorial primary of the party.
We have observed so many infractions by GDAWEL-led executive in our state, and we observed particularly what happened on Saturday was a great display because it has brought disrepute to our party. And as a result, we are passing a vote of no confidence on GDAWEL-led executive. And you will discover that it was GDAWEL-led executive that led thugs into the venue of election and disrupted the process. One of course, the gang leader of those who smashed buses on that day was the assistant youth leader, Central, in Adekiti.
We are changing the leadership of this party at the state level.
Is this how to change the leadership?
Yes, because just to avoid the total collapse of this party, we decided that
Welcome back. You're still on to Editors Forum on Galaxy Television. Of course, during the course of the week, there were APC World Congresses for the primaries. And in Ekiti State, we had lots of things happening. Of course, disruptions, people talking about anomalies in the Guba primaries. Now, we have update here. Our correspondent, Kunle Ojo, is live here with us. And is going to give us an update on what is happening right now as the Ekiti APC primaries, Guba primaries, is ongoing now. Kunle Ojo. All right, can you give us an update on what's happening right now at the APC primaries, the security arrangements?
Good afternoon, Rita. I can confirm to you that we are presently at one of the popular event centers in Okeila, in Ado, Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital, where the primary election of the people of the All Progressive Congress, the primaries of the All Progressive Congress is taking place. And I can confirm to you since around 8 a.m. in the morning, security has been beefed up within and around these premises. Security men in this place, they were armed to the teeth. And before you could get to this particular point I'm speaking with you, we have about 4 security checkpoints where every delegate, including journalists and other stakeholders involved in this exercise, has to be screened. So all along, it has been a peaceful exercise. As I'm speaking with you right now, delegates from Ekiti East, they are casting their votes, and the exercise has been going on peacefully. So I can confirm to you that since the beginning of this primary for the APC governorship primaries, it has been a peaceful exercise and security has been beefed up. Also, I can confirm to you that I have one of the delegates here who can attest, one of the aspirants rather, who can attest to what is happening here. I have with me a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, also an aspirant for this particular election, Senator Ayo Arishe. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much.
What can you say about the whole arrangement in this place?
I think a whole lot better than what we had last Saturday. Things are going smoothly, and I think a lot of preparation has gone into today's voting, and I believe all things being equal, we should have a very peaceful, very successful election.
So looking at the security arrangements, will you say there has been an improvement to what we had last week?
Oh, significant improvement for that matter. We noticed what caused the problem of last week, and all those were taken into consideration, and solutions were provided to mitigate against such reoccurrence. And that is the result we are seeing on the ground now.
Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Rita, you can hear from him that he confirmed what I've said, that since the commencement of this exercise, it has been peaceful all along, while delegates are conducting themselves according to the rule and dictate of this particular exercise. Also, I have another delegate, another aspirant, who also want to attest to what has been happening here since the morning.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Your name?
My name is Honorable Bamidele Fakparusi.
You were here last week. You can attest to what happened, and now, what can you say about what is going on here?
Yes, this is an improved arrangement, and from all indication, it seems all will go well. The accreditation was issue-free, and the voting has started, and from all indication, unauthorized people are not loitering around. As soon as you cast your vote, you are marched out of the premises. So we expect everything to go issue-free this time around.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You can also hear from him as well to confirm that the exercise has been peaceful, and the delegates, they are conducting themselves in accordance with the dictate of the election.
That was a live update down from Ekiti State as the APC Guba primaries is ongoing now, and they are saying that it is going well and fine. And we do hope that the primaries will go smoothly and a winner of the election will emerge from it. Now, to our distinguished gentlemen here, while we're still taking a review of what happened last week on Saturday, by this time last week Saturday, where there were a lot of inconsistencies, and of course we had lots of primaries in other parts of the country. For example, the Imo APC Congress, where the meeting held with the president recently ended in a deadlock because of misgivings. And of course, even on the Abia APC, luckily enough, it was held peacefully on Sunday. Now, so far, the PDP had their own Congress during the week, and it went smoothly with Kolapo Lushola emerging as the aspirant for the PDP. Now, what do you feel about this so far? The Congress is so far now. What do you feel about the conduct? Do you feel, especially with the one that happened last week now, do you feel that such a thing should have happened with how far the party APC has gone?
You see, APC as a party, I'm not a member of the APC, and I'm accused of bias because of my affiliation with PDP or some people in PDP. But whether you like it or not, PDP has a way, even if it's a facade or a make-believe, there's an impression that there's internal democracy in PDP. The first attempt of APC at internal democracy is seeing chaos everywhere. I've said it on this platform months back, and I'll still say it again. By the time APC goes to its national congress, that'll be the beginning of the end of the party. I'm not surprised. If you look at it, CPC days, the CPC Congress in Kano and Katsina in spite of the popularity of Muhammadu Buhari in 2011, it lost because of imposition. The ACN and what have you in Lagos State and other states have not been used to be that democratized. ABGA has always been one party that nobody puts eye on. So if I try to look at all away from the good attributes or traits or characters they bring on board, the fundamental flaws here is what will snowball into crisis by the time they go to the National Congress, unless they put their house in order. I'm not wishing the party should disintegrate or obliterate, but if the care is not taken, that's what's going to happen. Let's call a spade and not a cutlass.
All right, still on the Congresses now, Biodun, what do you feel about the statement made by Babafemi Ojudu, who is a special advisor on politics to President Buhari, who accused the national APC chairman, John Odige Oyegun, of conspiring against the people of Ekiti? Now, can we set a selfless public servant here? What do you feel about this development?
Yeah, well, with due respect to Ojudu, is a friend, and I think I will disagree with his statement. Oyegun can have his faults, but anyone close to Ekiti politics all along, which to a large extent I am, you will begin to see the issues, how they ended up where they ended up. Let me give you a good example. When Okoyemi Bamidele left, when Kaode Fayemi was the governor of Ekiti State, and he left just before the 2014 elections to join the Labour Party, he left taking all its local government chairmen and ward executives. And immediately, Kaode Fayemi, being the governor, stepped in and filled them up with his own cronies. And the same thing happened when they lost the election, when eventually there was a mood of people were dejected. You know, quite a lot of people, felt they didn't want to have anything to do. APC has been destroyed in Ekiti. Kaode is finished and all that. So nobody was funding the party. Kaode, being the last governor, decided to maintain the structures of the party. You know, and that leadership and the support being given, it's what we are beginning to see.
It's a reflection of his investment.
Precisely. So the rest now came. 36 other people, you know, now wanted the ticket apart from Kaude. But Kaude, I won't be surprised if he would emerge as the candidate. Because how are you going to beat the structure? He controls the structure on the ground. He controls virtually all the wards delegates. So how are you going to beat that? So that's the frustration. I can see where Ojudu is coming from. It's an expression of frustration on his own part because he was not able to make any difference. If they repeat the election 10 times, I cannot see Ojudu winning. I cannot see Okweba Midele winning. I cannot see any of those candidates winning. I can only see one person winning because the party leadership are the structures.
It's loyal to him.
Of course, that's your own opinion to it.
And one of the allegations being made is that, okay, he took away all the delegates. They went with him because
he's their
benefactor, he's their man.
Now, we're still talking it now. Now, in Kaduna now, 30 opposition parties are planned to boycott the local government elections now for APC. Now, APC is currently the ruling party and one would expect much from the party. Daniel, what do you feel about this? Do you feel that the APC should have been able to do more in their ward congresses?
Maybe I'll leave it to my colleague to talk about. I'm not very grounded.
Okay, let's hear from you, Biodun. Let's hear from you, Biodun.
In Katsina.
Yes.
In
Kaduna
is another
peculiar case.
Kaduna is already polarized. Whether you look at it at the level of PDP or APC or whichever, you have the Southern Kaduna issue. Then you also have the Zaria problem, which is Zaki. Don't forget that many of these people are also members of APC.
Yeah.
And there is no way how a Southern Kaduna will vote, delegates will vote for El-Rufai. So we are likely going to see a situation where El-Rufai will have his way, but you see a major drift. People are already commenting on Adeye's decision in Ekiti. Yeah. The same thing will happen in Kaduna. Many people will leave the APC, whether we like it or not. Because there is no way, given the level of problems in Kaduna State currently, there is no way how Southern Kaduna will agree to work with El-Rufai.
Now, we've seen a lot of cross-carpet, a lot of people going from APC to PDP, the Obasanjo, CNM, a lot of things are happening towards this 2019 general election. Now, with this governorship primaries that we're seeing now, how do you foresee the 2019 election so far, Yemi?
Well, 2019 election is going to be an interesting one. We're going to see, my personal opinion, more desperation because some people will be brought down, crashing grounds, you know, to reality. The impression that they are the best thing that could happen, that has ever happened to Nigeria as after jollof rice, that doubt will be cleared off their eyes. And when people, I see narratives on social media. Some of us sit on social media and write these things, but some of us are actually involved in politics around ground. And I will not. You know, if you ask me, Ekiti State, the gubernatorial election coming on in June, I'm not campaigning. Olushola is a governor in waiting, whether they like it or not. The presidency is going to be an interesting one. The coalition should not be disregarded. And I'll probably want to give you an instance. It's at Kaduna State. 3 senators in Kaduna State are against El-Rufai. They have structures, they have followers. Whether you like it or not, means Kaduna State is split into 2. Go to Adamawa State. Adamawa State is split into 3, or might end up being 2. If Bindo and Atiku could join a force. Because now what they want to do now is, Inyako, Abdulaziz Inyako is now being pushed to contest for the governorship. So somebody, and it was somebody close to the wife of the president to fill his slot. So Adamawa State is now split into 2. Now let's go to Ekiti. They should forget Benue. They should forget Taraba. When I like it, let them feud an angel in Taraba State. See why Danjuma and PDP will defeat the person. So why are we deceiving ourselves? You're fighting Dino Melaye. You're fighting Bukola Saraki. Forget Kogi and Kwara. So where's the magic vote coming from? That you think is going to be an Israel for APC? And whether you like it or not, people they're going to keep saying what I love. 10 million Nigerians have lost their job since 2015 till date. Expect an apathy and anger at the polls. Because they will not buy that crap that was President Goodluck Jonathan or the mismanagement that made them lose their job. They will believe it's the economic policies of the administration. So if you look at it, the margin of it was just because Jonathan was just a gentleman. It wasn't really fantastic margin. And before these alliances, they keep saying 10 million votes, 12 million standard votes in Kano, in Northern. Where is it coming from?
Before you go too far, let's hear from Biodu now. Now, with what has happened in the APC primaries, even though some of the primaries were okay, how do you see that it would affect, how do you feel the primaries would affect the party in general, that's the APC, considering the fact that, of course, the PDP's ward primaries was quite okay in Ekiti State. It went on free and fair. How do you feel to affect the party?
In
Ekiti State?
Ekiti.
Yes.
We're likely going to see a movement to ADP by some people for some reasons. Some people had already positioned themselves in SDP thinking that's the third force. So in Ekiti, you will see a realignment of forces. It's not, it's not unusual.
It's not okay science.
Go into history, it has always been the pattern. With every primaries, some people will leave. Even before Kaude Ifeanyi became the governor, the same thing happened. That was when, including Ayo Arishe, who is now back in APC. They all left for PDP. So, and the last election to which brought in Fauci, we saw Kwebamdele again leaving, for Labour. So in Ekiti, you are bound to have, there's a clear pattern to it. You are bound to have those who are disaffected, no matter who wins the election today, moving, to another party.
To test their popularity.
To test their popularity. It's always the game in Ekiti.
But how do you think we can avoid similar occurrences of like what happened in Ekiti? How do you think we can avoid it in Nigeria?
It's difficult to avoid what happened in Ekiti because as long as politicians are not willing to abide by the rules, and as long as the Nigerian police force as an institution keeps looking at body language of politicians and political leaders, it is extremely difficult. Let me give you a good example. Everybody knew who started the problem, who snatched the ballot boxes, who went in right in the presence of security agents and was breaking the ballot boxes. He's been hauled before the courts now. Why did they allow him to do that? Why didn't they arrest him immediately at the spot? Why didn't they stop it? Because there were police officers serving one politician, some other police officers are for another politician. They don't want to fight each other. They don't see themselves first, that their duty is to maintain peace and order. They see their primary duty to protect their principal. That is one of the major problems. Now, when you look at the decision of the APC national leadership on Ekiti, they identified all the people, responsible for the mayhem inside the hall. Of course, we all know them. We know the supporters of who. It's quite shocking. They were not even supporters of IME that we all suspected. They were supporters of other people, other aspirants. I don't want to start mentioning their names, but they were banned from being party agents. So surprisingly, we can now see peace. But these are the same people who in the past, go to the last election, who are the people who created mayhem inside the hall when Fauci won the election. Who are the same people who created mayhem over elections. I mean, we saw it all on telly. But they're the same people. So it's quite clear in Ekiti, they know each other. It's quite very homogeneous. They know each other. They know who will do what, who will not do what. But our inability to forestall it is the major problem. Why are you banning them after they've perpetrated the acts? Why can't you say, we know you guys, we will not allow you to be agents to start with, so that there will be peace?
Emisaka, what do you think generally now in Nigerian politics now? What problem can you identify with Nigerian politics?
It's not a problem. It's just an average Nigerian politician is an incredible optimist. It believes it is so popular and it will get victorious at the polls. And if you think the party doesn't get the tickets, it believes once it can go to the other party with his money and his structure, it should probably win. And as we cannot curb or restrict the ambition in any human. If you think you can get to the moon, shoot yourself to the moon. But a lot of people say, when you bring some little, it looks little but far-reaching, with far-reaching effects, policies tricking into Nigerian system, people will not go into politics. By the time you now make it mandatory for every public officer to patronize public institutions of learning and of health, you realize that I probably want to go think I can afford the best Medicare in India than go to General Hospital or Igbobi. Then you see people that want to serve, that will get there, and once they lose, they will believe, okay, let the party have its way. You have people that are not overtly ambitious, but are genuinely ambitious because they think they want to serve the people and they can impact and change the lives of the people for better.
Daniel, do you have anything to say on this? What do you feel is a major problem in Nigerian politics, judging from what you have seen so far?
Yeah, the major problem we have the poor condition of living whereby people can be bought into during electioneering. So if all of this, Nigeria begins to get aware, I think we will surmount it to a large extent. Then coming to what my colleague said earlier, take for instance, in the developed world, people go by the promises that were made during campaign, until we are able as a people to be able to pick who really want to serve, like President Buhari. We all thought, including myself, I wasn't a politician, but we all thought he was going to be able to do
magic.
Yes, to do magic. But unfortunately, maybe the man has lost strategy, has lost touch. As a result, he was unable to deliver what we all expect of him. So I think we should look inward, so that in the next election, we should look at people who really want to serve. We have them. So that we should not go by what politicians offer. Debate, like there was a
infrastructure.
There was a what is it called?
Chat card
that flows about on social media. So the guy began to dish out money. So when he got what he wanted, he began to demand the money back in form of tax, electrical bill, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, the money that he has given to
buy
the electorate, he collected it back, and he collected more from the people. So that is the kind of politics that is being played in Nigeria, and we need to put a nip in the bud.
Yemi Saka, what are your hopes for the 2019 election?
Oh, I pray and I hope I'll be actively involved. I'm not seeking any elective office. Like I tell people, the people that knows, but I'm still expecting to get clear directives on where we should go. And where that happens, I promise you, it's going to be, for me, it's going to be an interesting year, an interesting dispensation. Obviously, a lot of people know where my loyalty lies. A lot of people know what I probably would want to happen or what I want to achieve. But at least I start.
Do you foresee a free and fair election in 2019?
The truth, no.
Your personal opinion?
I'll tell you why, and we should say this. And it might seem inconsequential, but it's a very vital thing we should look at. I'm not saying the INEC chair so far is corrupt, or it has shown that it would be corrupt or biased. But I think after Efem Akpata, that was the chairman of INEC under Abdusalami, when Obasanjo got in there, it went southeast. It took a Moriziwu. When Jonathan came in, it went for Jega. I don't know if I'm making any sense. But now, if you now look at the composition of INEC, the president obviously is going to seek re-election is from the north. The chairman of INEC is from the north. One top official from there is a relative of Mr. President. Whether you like it or not, even if they swear under oath with the Quran and the Bible and what have you, there's tendency for bias. So that's a fundamental. And to me as an individual, I think there's a deliberate act to frustrate people from other parts of the country retrieving their PVCs. Go to many PVC collection centers in Lagos, in South and Ogun State. It's frustrating. And you keep getting fantastic figures of 1 million PVCs that have been collected in Kano, 13, you now see maybe 13 unclaimed PVCs, 13,000. You now come to Lagos, you see 1 million unclaimed PVCs, as if you are such retarded and backward in Lagos that we don't know the importance of PVCs during elections.
Before you go too far, let's hear from you on the final note as our time is fast spent. Biodun, what do you foresee or what do you hope for the 2019 elections? You see it as going to be free and fair?
Well, I don't even think we would manage to survive 2019 without restructuring. If we don't restructure the country, we are already in trouble. Now, if you look at the political configuration of the country prior to Buhari's coming in, there is no way how there won't be chaos. We may end up having an inconclusive election. That is my worry. With the ADP coming on stream, possibly likely 12 to 15 governors moving in, and then half of National Assembly moving into ADP, then you will probably have three political parties, 3 presidential candidates, and I doubt whether any one of them would satisfy the constitutional requirement. That would throw us into a major crisis.
And fantastic for our
democracy. We can only hope
too.
for the best for the 2019 elections, and what I would say is that we should all get our PVCs and vote wisely.
If they allow us.
You can.
If they allow us, get it.
You have the freedom to get your PVCs and vote wisely. And that's how we call it a wrap on today's edition of Editors Forum on Galaxy Television. My name is Rita Omodi, and it's been a pleasure hanging out with Yemi Saka, Jordan Showmi, and of course Daniel Aniko. Thank you very much for coming to the show. And of course to all our extinguished audience out there, thank you very much for being a part of Editors Forum today. Till next time, same station, same edition on Editors Forum. Do stay tuned. Thank you very much.